By the mid-90s, it was clear to almost anyone that Star Wars was still a product that could sell. In the early 90s, Heir to the Empire shot to the top spot of the New York Times best-selling list, and Dark Horse Comics was seeing a huge sale with their new Star Wars comic book series, Dark Empire. It was clear that people still wanted Star Wars, at least now the adults that grew up on it. But George Lucas wanted to see if kids of the 90s wanted Star Wars also. One of the first toy deals in the 90s was Star Wars Micro Machines.
Micro Machines, where they gonna take you?
To space with Star Wars!
May the Force be with you!
Star Wars Micro Machines. There's a cool adventure in every collection. Micro Machines Star Wars collections and vehicle collections, each sold separately.
This would be the first Star Wars toy line in stores since 1985. The sales were great. It wasn't just the 20-year-olds that grew up on Star Wars, but kids wanted them also. George Lucas knew he had to get kids wanting Star Wars if he was going to return to the galaxy in a new series of movies. Not only was Lucas seeing Star Wars was still in demand, so was toy company Hasbro, who had bought out Kenner a few years before, and was now sitting on a goldmine of old Star Wars molds that they could easily use for new toys. Lucas and Hasbro reached an agreement to bring Star Wars action figures back to the stores in 1995, under the Kenner brand with the subtitle, Power of the Force.
Star Wars Power of the Force Collection. Darth Vader leads an evil empire towards universal domination. Join a brave rebellion with Luke Skywalker, Han Solo and Chewbacca, and Jedi Obi-Wan Kenobi. Can you stop the Empire? Star Wars Power of the Force Collection from Now, the universe has changed forever. The Star Wars Power of the Force Collection. When Darth Vader and his stormtroopers attack, join Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker, and Han Solo. Escape in the mighty Millennium Falcon. Experience the real movie sounds of lightspeed. When Darth Vader's TIE fighters are on your tail, hear the force of the Falcon's turbo lasers. Can you blast Vader's TIE fighters to pieces? Never underestimate the power of the Force. The Star Wars Power of the Force Collection, each sold separately from Kenner.
The line would be dubbed Power of the Force 2 by adult collectors, so it wouldn't be confused with the 1985 Power of the Force line. Early plans with Hasbro had the toy line called the Trilogy Edition. As you can see from this early mock-up, the card very early on looked about the same as we got, with the now iconic Darth Vader head. In these early stages, the head was a photo of Darth Vader taken from Return of the Jedi, but on the release card back, they used an old Kenner archive photo of a prop Darth Vader helmet. The first thing to stand out with fans about the new figures was the bulky muscles of the figure that looked nothing like the bodies of the characters from the film. This was the mid-90s when most toy companies, for some reason, wanted their action figures to have huge muscles. This prototype of Luke Skywalker shows that he almost had a different head, one that really looked nothing like a young Luke Skywalker from the first Star Wars film. Early concept of C-3PO would have a much rounder head. Chewbacca was first planned to be released with more realistic fur, called flock. A few colors were chosen for this fur, but Hasbro decided to drop that plan altogether and release Chewbacca in his normal plastic figure form. The 1985 line was huge for Hasbro and Lucasfilm, again showing George Lucas there was a hunger from fans old and young that Star Wars was still a brand people wanted. As the line of figures continued, some changes were made. The orange card from the first couple of series was changed to green. There was plans to update the Stormtrooper with a small hole in the back of his head that you would look through to see a scene from Star Wars. One of the newer figures in the green line was the Emperor that almost came with a more flesh-tone color skin for some reason. The action figure line would even step away from the movies in 1996 with a line of figures based on the book and video game Shadows of the Empire. Hasbro would go with the same basic look of the card back, but would try it with different colors, before deciding to go with a purple style card in the US and the already being used orange style card outside of the US. They also would take on the expanding universe world with a line of figures based on the Star Wars comic books and novels. The line would continue to grow in the 90s, with some plans not making it to stores, like a deluxe Imperial Gunner that would come with its own laser cannon. This figure would have knee joints unlike the release figure. They even brought back the collector's coin made famous in the 1985 Power of the Force line. The first plan for the coin was to have it come on a normal card back with the figure, but Hasbro would opt out of that for a box figure with the coin on a display stand. Another plan was to have the figure talk, thanks to a small device on its back. These planned talking figures would be scrapped, but talking figures would return a year later with contact chips. There was also plans to update the land speeder to make it RC. To control the land speeder, you would use a little Imperial shuttle. Well, this is a look at some of the early plans for when Star Wars returned to the toy stores. I want to thank you for watching. As always, thumb up so you like my content, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk again soon.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.